Okay, so it is Saturday morning. It is 6 something, like probably 10 to 7. And I have to make a difficult choice today because there were 2 town-wide garage sales near my town. One in Smithville, Ontario, that I know has vinyl records at, 'cause somebody called me to tell me. And the Hagersville town-wide garage sale, which also somebody has records at because they called to tell me. I will flip a coin and basically see where I am at when I get there, because I'm still not 100% sure where I'm going to go to. So yeah, sometimes you have to make these decisions. They weren't on the same weekend last summer. I don't know what happened, but either way, I'm heading to a town-wide garage sale today. So let's go see what I get. That is the other pile of records I got from that garage sale over there, which I couldn't film at because there were 3 other record guides beside me, and I needed both hands. But yeah, first garage sale, pretty good. So yeah, I got some stuff at various garage sales. Almost all of it came from one. And in terms of record-wise, it was an unusual one for me because, I've got to stop complaining about not finding stuff anymore because this so far garage sale season has been pretty good, and I'm only like 3 weeks in. I have found some epic pieces, and I've actually been finding a lot of records. I mean, actually today there is a really rare and valuable record in this lot, and that's not just like clickbait type thing. It's legit. And this guy whose garage sale I went to, he just clears out houses, and he's been doing it for years. And he cleaned out this one lady's house and had pretty much, that's where I got everything from. The records, there's some sterling jewelry, bunch of smalls, and really, other than one other place where I actually managed to get records, that was it. So essentially, I drove around and looked at probably around 40, 50 different garage sales, but I only managed to buy at like 2 or 3 of them at best. But we'll get into the records right now. It is an interesting lot. Soul, funk, and jazz, which I live in a rural area. You don't usually get that often. And so some of these are going to end up going into my collection. For those who don't know, my name is Jay. This is my retail store. It's called Time Capsule in a small town in southern Ontario. And I sell vintage goods, antiques, collectibles, vinyl, and we've been here for 20 years now. So yeah, I'll put the links below to the store if you want. I'll also put links to other vinyl finds that I have. There's a playlist with a bunch of them and other garage sale finds, and you can go through them if you want. You don't have to, but if you do, maybe subscribe. But again, you don't have to. I'm not the boss of you. So let's go look at those finds. Okay, so as you can see, I got a lot of records. And I'll tell you, I walked up, and we'll get this way out of the first how much I paid. I walked up and I looked, and there were 3, like this guy had stuff all over the lawn, and nothing was really organized, but he had 3 tubs of records. And I said, how much? And he said, $1 a piece. So I was like, okay. And I went after it. And but that's the layer. You know what? I'll do this way. It's the way I should have done it. So I'll show you. Actually, there were 3. Now I remember 3 sales that I got records at, and these are the ones from one of the first ones here. And these were around $1 or $2 a piece as well. I think it was $2 a piece, but I think they gave me a little bit off. So Kansas, Mahogany Rush, Wishbone Ash, Pat Travers, more Pat Travers there. Human League, Billy Squire. Some of these I wouldn't normally buy, but if they're only a couple of bucks, why not? King Bees, any money. I'm always getting asked for this Kansas because it's the one with the Wayward Son on it. Fantastic Talking Heads record. Rainbow. Okay, so those were a couple of bucks a piece. I said at the beginning that there were 2 town-wide garage sales, and I chose to go to the one in Hagersville, Ontario, because somebody there had told me they had records, and I've gotten good stuff off them in the past. So I went, and they had records here priced between $2 and $5 a piece. Most of these are in the $2 range, and that's what I think. It's a good thing. The other one was in Smithville, Ontario. I might have said Stevensville, Ontario at the beginning of the video. I don't know why, but no, it was definitely in Smithville, Ontario. It's also a great garage sale, but those two have never been on the same weekend before. I don't know which one changed, and it's unfortunate because a guy had called me the night before saying he had records that I'd bought off before too, but I had to pick one, and so luckily I went with Hagersville because you'll see why. Anyways, Climax Blues Band, Alison Moyer, Roy Orbison, The Association. This I just bought because, I don't know, I like the cover a lot. Slaughter on 10th Avenue. ABBA, I get asked a lot for ABBA. It's just bread and butter stuff for the store. Barry White, Apollo 100, Ron McNabb. What you doing there, kiddo? My boy's in the store with me today. So, I'm just do a quick hi. Say hi. Hello. There you go. All right. More ABBA. Stray Cats, Traffic, Sega, Lou Rawls, and the Beach Boys, and yeah, Tall, Ashford and Simpson, and Jealous. And this is where everything starts for the big garage sale that I ended up doing, because this is where all of the big soul records start off of. And it's a lot of soul. There's R&B, jazz, and some reggae as well, and calypso and things like that too. But there's a few pretty rare ones in here. There is Owen Gray. This Donnie Albert is really tough to find. This is actually pretty hard to find too, The Adventures, so that's a nice one. There were a couple of just classic rock stuff in there too, like this Thick as a Brick, and Jethro Tull, another Jethro Tull, Clyde McPhatter. This is a great 2-record set of like blues, so you can see all the artists that are on there. I mean, now, condition-wise, I should go over that. Some look literally unplayed, and others look well played out. But again, it was $1 a piece. And I had a bunch of guys. I was the first one there, but then other guys started rolling up. So I wanted to get through it quickly. And sometimes you just start grabbing stuff, and that's sort of what I was doing. Here's another sort of rock and roll saxophone type stuff on there. You've got Earl Bostic and Bill Doggett. And yeah, so that's kind of cool. MFSB, Jackie Washington. This one is pretty hard to find too, and it's the interesting for me. He's a Canadian guy. I can't find it on Discogs, so I don't know if it's worth a ton of money or anything. But where is the guy? Dave Essig produced it, and he's an interesting artist under his own local area. Eric Mercury, Evelyn Champagne King. Just grab this because it's like, I get a lot of people asking me for gospel and spirituals. There is one of the first better ones. It's on Blue Note, Jimmy Smith. It is an original, and that's Blue Note, New York. Little name written on there. That doesn't bother me that much, but such a great thing. And I love Jimmy Smith. Midnight Special, Coleman Hawkins on Crown. Ahmad Jamal, I think this is probably, yeah, Argo, which I think was a Chess subsidiary label that they, instead of doing blues, they did jazz on. Syl Austin, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. There's some blues. An early George Benson. This one's just it's early, but I think it's just sort of like a jazz comp more than anything else. Joe and Eddie, Bill Justice. That one, oh, it's got a couple of records in there. I should look to see. Mahalia Jackson, Ray Charles. Unfortunately, this one didn't have the record in there, but I took it anyways for the cover. He gave me it. Same with this Marvin Gaye. But here's another great sort of soul one on there. A lot of original soul gold on Mercury. It's a double set. Danny Cox. That's an interesting one. Pretty hard to find. Vernon Best on Edmar. You don't see that label very often. So, and you know, that's probably a $25 record type thing. So, I'm just going to set these back up and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so those are set up. So here's one. Unfortunately, it does not have the cover. And I did look, I couldn't find it in all the other bins. It's Daly's 5, Now Is the Time. This is a Canadian sort of soul, funk, and R&B thing. I believe, I can't remember, it's from the 70s. It is a private press, pretty rare from what I can tell, and the Discogs on it, I'll let you look it up, but the median's well over $100 on that. Now, okay, it's just the record. Fair enough, but still, keep in mind in the end what I paid for everything for all of these. Bohannon. You know what, I'll move this stuff out of the way. Lord Shorty. Some Jamaican calypso. This is something that I was like, I normally wouldn't get, but for some reason, it just sort of, the Lever Brothers name hit me for some reason. I don't know why, but Secrets of the Pan. I think somebody had schooled me on this. This is about a $40 record, surprisingly. And it is the Gay Flamingos and Lever Brothers. It's steel pan music. It's fantastic, but it is thing. John W. Anderson. Here's another one. This is like a $40 record. It's sort of funk, soul, really good. Joe Houston, that's an expensive one. This is a really expensive one again. I think the Discogs meeting on this was well over $100 again too. Stan Martin is Dr. Cool on Ram Records. Jimmy McGriff. I was hoping that there'd be some more Jimmy in there, but unfortunately no, because I always sell his stuff really quickly. This I just got because it's sealed. It's like a sealed Christian, but sometimes the Christian stuff is worth it. I don't think that is. Ralph McDonald, the Daz Band, Gap Band, Shalimar. Damn. The Love and Sound. This is The Presidents, which is on Sussex, which was Bill Withers' label. Well, the label he was on. Jimmy Witherspoon at the Monterey Jazz. That's got a lot of good players on there too. Jimmy Rushing, that's Columbia 6i, I believe, on there. I can never remember the name of this, but Brewer and Shipley. Again, empty case. I didn't realize that one was empty. Oh well, not the end of the world. This is another rare blues one, Earl Hooker. Kind of valuable. BT Express, I love their stuff. Rolls Royce, you're looking at some great disco. This is an interesting one. It's Pacific Jazz, but there's some, it's a blues thing. And, you know, again, another good one. It's got staples of the thing, which is unfortunate, but Bohannon, Della Reese Live, Shelly Mann's playing on that one. I can never find anything by Richard Holmes, and so I just grabbed this on the Edmar label in fantastic shape. Eartha Kitt, Paul Revere and the Raiders. The real big one's coming up soon, so just, I'm not trying to drag this out or anything like that, but Skyline, and there it is. So here's the thing. Didn't have a clue about this. I just was like, that's just, there's something about it that I was like, you know what, I got to buy that. And because they were only $1, I was willing to take risks, air quotes. If this had been like $20, I probably wouldn't have bought it. if it even been 10, I probably would have passed. Maybe not. But at $1, it was like, fine. This is a private pressing. It was a demo record, apparently, that he used. I'm not 100. It's sort of soul, gospel, funky gospel. And I couldn't find it initially on Discogs. I did. There's some ones that were in rough shape that sold in the 180 range. The people, something like 200 to 10, 200 over 200 want it, and only 10 have it. The only sales history that I could find, because there wasn't, any on Discogs, it was just what people were selling them for, was a 2017 eBay auction that had several bidders on a copy of this, and it went for over 260, I believe it was, USD. So again, less than $1 Canadian. So, I mean $1 Canadian, which is less than $1 US. So there you go. Luther Allison, this is a pretty tough one to find too. Count Basie, but both the records are back here for some reason. Don't know why. Strangely enough, Merle Haggard was in the middle of that. This I bought because I just love that cover. This I forgot to put back, but why not? It's the Ventures. John Handy, saxophone player. Third World. Les McCann and Eddie Harris at the Montreux Jazz Festival. That'd be nice. Womack and Womack. Eddie Grant. The James Gang. Leonton Price. It's again spiritual stuff I get asked all the time. Pagliaro. Hugh Masekela. God, I love Hugh. The Gap Band. George Duke. And the thing that sucks is no. Oh, wait, there is a record in there. Oh, man, I didn't think there was a record in there, but there is. Sweet. That's great. Shirley Scott. This is on Prestige. She's playing Duke Ellington. Unfortunately, this is one of the ones that got played out, but still cool. Jimmy Cliff, Stanley Clark. That's an earlier one too for Stanley, I think. Disco Calypso, Beckett. Not familiar with it all, but Ramsey Lewis doing Christmas stuff on Cadet. Dragon Lee, Byron Lee and the Dragonaires. Dragon Lee and the Byronaires. There you go. It's a good punk band name. Eddie Harris, more Byron Lee. Don't sleep on Byron Lee, man. I think a lot of people write him off because he did like a lot of like hotels and things like that. But he's like, that band is tight. And when they're doing ska and even some of the disco ska they did later, it's great stuff. Christmas record from Ace Cannon. That's on High. No idea. It just got thrown in. Not gonna lie, don't know. Rolls Royce, more good disco. Oh, you know what? It's produced by Norman Whitfield. That's pretty cool. Okay, so here's another pretty heavy hitter on Prestige. It's Arnett Cobb. That's a $40, $50 record right there. And it's still in the shrink, which is crazy. Ace Cannon. This Supremes record is a little bit of Liverpool when they're covering Beatles stuff and all the other things that came out. Sadly, it had Live at London on there inside it, which I only found out later when I was looking through. Cook at the Copa. This one's in a little harder shape too. Leonton Price. Buddy Miles. Love Buddy Miles. Can't really go wrong with a Buddy record. Roy Ayers. I don't have enough Roy Ayers in my life. Either do you. And then this is Funky Blues. It's on Verve. You got Charlie Parker, Johnny Hodges, Ben Webster. Oh, Oscar Peterson's in there. Ray Brown. Yeah, that's a pretty good little collection. Show you the back there. It's Canadian pressing. This is another hard one to find. Curtis, Amy, and Paul Bryant on Pacific. Another totally tough one to come by. And then one of my favorite and I think one of the most painfully overlooked funk bands, the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band. Damn, their stuff is just so good and so tight. And they're doing like Brown Sugar and Yellow Submarine on this. I mean, man, it's awesome. Duke Ellington's Indigos. This is such a classic. John Handy. Jimmy Cliff. Another really nice Jimmy Smith. Third World. This one's pretty hard to find. It's on Blue Note. Bobby Humphrey. She played, she's a jazz flautist. I don't know. Making it up. Orleans. Roberta Flack. Switched on Bach. I love anything with a Moog in it. Jay and the Americans. The Tears Are Not Enough. Now, for my American friends, you'll have probably no idea what this is, but I think every Canadian will know. It was a group called Northern Lights. When they did the famine relief record in the UK that was, what was it called? Do They Know It's Christmas? And then the American version, I can't remember the name of it now. Sorry. But then Canada went on and did a version called Tears Are Not Enough. And it's like, you got some interesting people. You got Geddy Lee, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young. There's Ronnie Hawkins on there. I think Wayne Gretzky even might have had a go. There's John Candy with Cordy Lightfoot. It is, you know, it's pretty good. My favorite story about this, David Foster produced it. And I guess when Neil was trying to sing his line, David kept saying, "You're a little flat, Neil." And he kept saying it over and over, and we do it over and over again. And then finally Neil said, "That's my sound, man." Which is great. Kids Records. This one is actually in fantastic shape. Normally there's a beat, but I think this one was, I don't know if it was actually a promo. Oh, it's got some staining on there. Oh, well. I don't know if it was actually a promo that you had to send away for, but it's for the Kellogg's TV show, so a nice little crossover there. Disney's Snow White. Tubby the Tuba. I don't know, but I just really like the cover. I don't know why. Another Lousy Sunset in Paradise. That's cool too. I don't know if it's even anything, but I really do like it. And John Williams does Pops in Space, which is fantastic because he does Superman, Empire Strikes Back, and Star Wars stuff on here, which is great. It's the cover's a little bit wibbly, I'll call it, but the record's in really nice shape. Somewhere along the line, I lost about 7 inches, and they were all sort of reggae. This is the only, I don't know where the rest are. I'm sure they're around here. I just don't know where I put them. So yeah, so that's it in total. Oh, look, did Paco sign this? There you go, autographed. Maybe it's worth $2 now. I don't know. So yeah, that is all of the records. There were, I think, close to 90 of them at that one garage sale. And I said to the guy, okay, I was getting ready to pay him $90. And he's like, how's 45 sound? And I'm like, okay, fine. So yeah, I was saying $1 all along. Most of these are 50 cents or less. I know you don't find 50-cent records that are like terrible, never mind stuff that's pretty good. And again, for me, this is the kind of thing that I live in a fairly rural area. It's a classic rock area. You know, you get some good psychedelic stuff and pop and things like that in record collections. But way too much country. But I don't usually get quality jazz from this area. I have to usually go into the States or into bigger cities to find things like this, collections that have a lot of jazz or soul or funk or R&B, so I'm pretty happy with that. What I'm going to do is pause this here, clear this off, and then show you the rest of what I've got. It's some pretty cool stuff. It's not record related, so for the vinyl guys, if you check out, I totally get it, but you might want to hang around. You might, I don't know, learn something, see something. Oh, there is one more reason for you to stick around. I got a box with a bunch of needles in it for turntables. One of them I will actually be using on my own Empire turntable. So anyways, we'll just cut it there for now. Okay, so that's all the rest of the stuff. I've taken the records out of here. And as you can see, it wasn't much else. I had 2 bigger pieces, which I won't be showing because they're bigger and I don't have the room for them in here. That were both, well, they were in the free piles, but I always sort of feel bad taking free stuff from people when I know it's worth something. So I gave them a couple of bucks each, which, you know, whatever. It's just the thought more than anything else. One was a sort of 1950s telephone seat. For those who don't know, just Google it. You'll see. We used to have phones that connected to wires in the walls, and we needed to have places to put them, and we needed seats beside them. So that's what it was. And also, again, that was in somebody's free pile. And then I was looking at a wire. It would have been a record stand, an older 1951's black wire that had a flat spot to put your turntable on, then spaces for your records below. And again, the girl's like, "You just take that. We're gonna throw it out." And I'm like, "How about I give you a couple of bucks?" She's like, "Oh, great." So those I'm not going to show because, well, they're too big. But all of this stuff came from that one garage sale with all the records. This one didn't. This was $15, and if you were of a certain age like I am, you will remember in gym class, we used to hurl these things at each other. It's a medicine ball, and it has some heft and weight to it. And that was, we used to throw them at each other and knock the wind out of each other trying to catch them, and that was for our health in gym class. They become kind of sought after decorator items. Unusual to find a green leather one. It was $15. I mean, they can go for anywhere of like 50 to 150 if you look up on eBay, and I have no idea where this one will go in. It does say made in Canada. I can't find a maker's thing. It's probably on here and probably well worn. That can help. The Everlast ones seem to do a lot better. So he had a ton of big stuff, but it was mostly household stuff at this one garage sale the records came in. But then I was looking around, there were just boxes of smalls, and knowing me, I just started digging. This is a nice vintage wool cap, and you can see on there, I don't know who it is, Dress Gordon in new wool, made in Scotland. This is probably, I'm going to say, like 1960s. Maybe a little later, but it's certainly not past the 70s. And I don't know if it's worth anything. I just thought it was too cool to leave behind. Look at that. It makes everything look like a people. This is a nicer early piece. It is a British-made level by the, is it J? Yeah, J. Rabone or Raybone and Sons in Birmingham, England. I love the scroll, like the actual font that's used on it, but it's got a brass level there and then another one there, which that one doesn't seem to be working at all, but on eBay they seem to go for around 25 bucks. It was $1. Most of the stuff in here, he basically was like, in the end, I don't think I paid more than $10 for all of the stuff in here. Just keep that in mind. This is a metronome, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it opened. It's a wind-up one, and there you go. You can see it's sort of a portable one there, and look, it's rocking away already. And it's just really cool. And again, keep in mind, everything probably in this box cost me less than $10. So I grabbed that because it's an Expos ticket, and I've never seen one before, and I loved the heyday of when we had two teams in Canada. I wish the Expos had stayed. Come on, Quebec. Figure it out. Like, you had a great sports team, and it just, nobody supported it, and it went away, and that's too bad, because you guys could have won a World Series probably the year after if you didn't have to liquidate everything, which sucks. But yeah, the Blue Jays Expos, that was my era. That was thing. It's 1983. I started with the Jays in the 70s. I went to a first season game at the Mistake by the Lake, as they call it, but my beloved oh my God, Exhibition Stadium, where I've seen many concerts. But anyways, I digress. So it's probably not worth that much, but I just figured, you know what? This is a vintage Donald Duck Walt Disney Productions little hanger you can stick on. It still had the sticky thing in there. This is just a little tin. People love little tins. And this is, I believe, a typewriter type cleaner. People love typewriters, so why not? Here's another little tin that, again, it's an earlier one. I believe it is UK, And it's not crazy old, but it is earlier, and it's got great graphics. This one has really great graphics. It's a Britannia repair kit, probably again 1960s, but in good shape. People love little tins. I bought this because I have a shaving mirror, and this is a Bakelite handled one. And I can't make out who that company is on there, but I'm going to put it with that shaving mirror. Here is something that might interest any of the vinyl guys if you're still here. It is an Empire turntable. Empire, they made turntables. I own an Empire turntable. And this is a case for their styluses and cartridges and needles and such. And this has several in there. This is a pretty nice Audio-Technica one, which is great. Which one? I don't know which model this is, but it's made in Japan. And then that's the head shell case from one of them. There's all the little doodads for making the things. Now, this one, I don't know what it is. I didn't get a good chance to look. Maybe some of the turntable guys know a bit more. Now, it doesn't have an actual stylus in there, but I wonder what that cartridge is. I gotta get a magnifying glass. My eyes are that bad. But this one I recognize right away as being an Empire cartridge. And unfortunately, oh, you know what? No, the stylus is in there. Probably should get a new one because you don't know how many hours are on the thing. But I have an Empire turntable. It'd be nice to match these two up and see what they sound like. So, again, everything in this box was around $10 because I remember him saying a couple of bucks for this. So this is cool. This is a very early Canadian PGA golf bag tag, and it's for Southern Pines Golf and Country Club in Mount Hope, Ontario. But that has got to be from the 60s on its own. It's kind of cool. I missed out. The reason why I started digging in some boxes was because I saw a guy digging, and he pulled out 2 Zippos and 2 really nice pocket knives, and he got them for $5 for everything, and then he left, and I hit that box, and that's where some of this stuff came from, and he missed a Zippo. So I always get asked for Zippo. I don't know how terribly old this one is, but it still sparks, and yeah, I don't know. I think that says made in the USA. So yeah, this, I don't know what it is. Some sort of 65 Department of Revenue. This is, I haven't checked for marks, but that's the crest of Belfast for the city in Ireland, I believe. And it's enameled, which might be interesting. I get people who want old cigarette cases. I doubt that this is sterling in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, the inside needs a good clean out. But it's still just a cool little cigarette case for anybody of Irish heritage. They'd be interested in that. And this was probably one of the most interesting things. Give me a second here because I need 2 hands to open it up. I don't deal in jewelry. I don't, you know, I pick up, if it's cheap enough, I'll pick stuff up, but I don't know that much about jewelry. I'll fully admit I'm learning a bit more as I go along. But what caught my eye were these 2 cufflinks, because I was like, oh, cufflinks. And I was looking for sterling marks, and then I actually noticed what they're from. It's from the New York World's Fair. And there's a pair of them, matching pair. Not huge money, but they are, you know, $20 to $40 online, so that was kind of cool. This is a little pin back for I believe it's a hospital bowling league in 1967, because that's a centennial thing in Canada, and there is a sterling mark on it. So that's something. This is a little Sweet 16 bracelet. I don't think the bracelet is sterling, but that has a sterling mark on it. This is another one for the bowling league. I think this is earlier. And it has the sterling mark on it. This is a class ring for, it's enameled on the front, and it is for a college. I'm not sure which one, I gotta admit, and there is a sterling mark inside of that too. This is the one that probably is the most, for me, might be something that is quite valuable. It is a stick pin, and I believe that that is part of a gold nugget, because that was pretty common. I've seen these before. I know they go for money. There is a local jewelry shop nearby, so I'm going to go test them and see what happens. But if it is, that's probably the best thing there. Again, I don't know enough about jewelry to really know. I know the gold isn't supposed to tarnish, and that looks like a lot in there, but it is a nugget, so that might be stone that it is part of. Again, I don't 100% know. And then just a cool old made in Canada with Alaska black diamond, which is hematite, I believe. Not a valuable stone thing at all. But again, that whole thing there, all those things that I just pulled out of that box, was around 10 bucks. So I'm, pretty happy with that. I wish I'd had more time to dig, because there were some other boxes, but I had to get going. So there was that. Picked up a couple of paperbacks, early ones. I like Steinbeck, and then I love that cover because that's To Kill a Mockingbird. I think anybody who went to school saw a version of that. And I was talking to the guy, and I explained to him that I have a store, and we exchanged numbers, which is kind of a good thing because he does those house clear outs all the time. And he's like, oh, we've got more stuff than we know what to do with. And I said, well, call me in if you're doing a house clearance, and I'll buy it right when I'm there. And then you don't even have to store it. He's like, great. But I told him I'm into old toys, and he brought this out. And they're old, sort of, this one's made in the USA, I think. Probably 1960s, just noisemaker toys. Like that. And then here's another one. And some of them have really great graphics on them. They're just sort of tin with really cool lithograph graphics on there. And then there's that's probably part of something else. There's just a whole bag full of them, rattles and clackers, and this long one, really interesting circus horn. And then that's U.S. Metal Toys Manufacturing Company. So I'd say probably 1960s. And there's a ton of them in there. There's well over 10, probably closer to 15 of them. And I was expecting him to say, a fairly chunky number, but he was like, $5. I'm like, okay. All right, I'll take that. And then I had to get out of town because I had to go back and open the store today, and stopped at one on the way back and got this just short little West German pottery vase because I have lots of people who come in looking for West German pottery. So that is it. Again, I've had some luck this year so far at the garage sales. I cannot complain anymore, and I shouldn't. But some of those records for me take the cake. And, just finding even just that, I would have been super happy to find that many needles and cartridges for a thing. If you look up cartridges, they get expensive. And I know that Empire one isn't cheap. It isn't like the crazy $1,000 type numbers that are out there, but it's still probably a $40, $50 cartridge, and I can suit my thing. I am babbling, so I'm gonna cut it short. Anyways, I hope you guys are out there digging it through dusty parts of houses and basements and attics and going to garage sales and able to find cool stuff. And yeah, we'll see what comes next week. Bye.